The red pill alpha males are lying to you. And there is a new way to be alpha that doesn't have to constantly fight against the direction that society's going. The new masculinity that's going to win in the long run. Maybe right now, these red pillars, these alpha males that are really just focused on money and being jacked, these guys, they're gonna do okay because they're better than, the guys that are weak and they're soft. But there is a new type of man that if you can tap into it, it's gonna be the most attractive. And this is what I'm calling the new alpha male. And it's really a traditional masculine man, but with emotional intelligence and the ability to be vulnerable without pissing his pants. And when I say vulnerable, I don't want you to start typing in the comments. Jerry's down there like, oh my God, vulnerable. I'm not gonna cry in front of a woman. Not telling you to do that, okay? I'm not telling you to do that. Just hang out with me, watch this video. I'm gonna give you 3 traits of the new alpha male that any guy can adopt. You can be a 17-year-old kid watching this. You can be a 35, 55-year-old man and watching this, and you can adopt this. Really what this comes down to is being more masculine, but also having emotional intelligence. And there's specific ways you can unlock these traits, but it's always uncomfortable because the reason that you go out and you try to talk to girls and you can't seem to connect with girls, they don't seem to take you seriously, even though you say all the same stuff that these guys that are getting girls say. You copy all these dating coaches. You think it doesn't work. You think that these alpha males, they don't know what they're talking about. It's just because they're jacked and have money. You think it's all these things, but really, it's because you're performing and you're not being who you actually are. And you're not comfortable being who you actually are. You'd be much better off leaning into the archetype of guy you really are deeply at an identity core level than trying to be someone you're not. And that's the core of what makes a new alpha male. The first trait of the new alpha male is that emotions don't make him uncomfortable. If he has to talk about, yeah, that was sad, and that makes him uncomfortable to say in a group of people, that's not a new alpha male. You have to be able to be relaxed about your emotions. Like, man, that was a beautiful movie. Cried a little bit. That was like such a sweet thing. I love that. Being able to express your opinions and your emotions freely without getting weird, without getting all tense and tight about it. I'm not saying you need to cry sob stories to girls about, oh, I'm so vulnerable, please fix me. That's not what I'm asking you to do. What I'm telling you to do is start being more comfortable with the fact that you have emotions. If you've ever watched any red pill content, it's telling you to shove your emotions deep down. They don't help you achieve your goals. And I'm telling you that in the long run, that is not true. Cameo from Olive, okay? In the long run, that is not true. I promise you. What is gonna help you in the long run is being comfortable with your emotions, understanding things about yourself so that you can accept them and not be insecure about them. We've all met that guy that overcompensates for his insecurities. And the more you shove your emotions down, the more you become like that guy. Guys that don't deal with their emotions, they go in one of 2 directions. They become more narcissistic, so they become more full of themselves and overcompensate, or they become weaker and softer and feel sorry for themselves. A guy that can actually be comfortable with his emotions, how he feels, his insecurities, understand these things. I'm a little insecure about my physique. I can be happy with that, or I can be super insecure with that. And it's pretty much just a choice on how I feel about it. How if I'm willing to accept and forgive myself for, getting a little bit fat sometimes or whatever. It's a choice. As soon as I take that power, sorry, Olive's fucking with the camera. As soon as I take that power and I allow myself to accept myself for who I am, like, yeah, I get fat sometimes, whatever. And then I move on and I laugh it off and I don't take myself too seriously. The more actually confident I am, the more women are attracted to me, the more guys want to be my friend. That's really important. This is something that I've realized with the channel where I realized, like, dude, my personality is pretty good. Like, I'm pretty funny, I can talk, and when I try too hard, I come off super dry and bland. And so I need to stop taking myself so seriously. You can do the same thing in your interactions with girls. The second trait of the new alpha is being vulnerable has a new meaning. Being vulnerable is just saying, this is who I am. Imagine going up to somebody and just laying out your entire personality for them to discover, this is me, and you can take it or leave it. It's vulnerable because you're allowing yourself to get rejected. You're not using rationalizations. You're not being like, oh, this girl's too dumb for me. Oh, this guy isn't cool enough for me. Oh, this guy isn't the type of guy I want to be around. He's a loser. You're just being your most polarizing and authentic self. When you're being vulnerable, this is actually guys ask me how to be the most polarizing, this is how to be the most polarizing. Being vulnerable, here's an example of being vulnerable you might not think is being vulnerable. I go up to a girl, I'm having a conversation, and I just think it'd be funny to look her in the eye and say, fuck you, I hate you, as a joke. Like maybe she says something I don't like. I just say it, I'm joking. I'm being vulnerable there because I'm showing her part of my personality that I maybe wouldn't show everybody. I'm unleashing my entire personality onto this girl, and she can love it or she can hate it. And it's either one. Feel free. That is what being vulnerable means as a new alpha. The new alpha male seeks opportunities to be vulnerable. He seeks opportunities to open himself up to criticism or rejection because he wants to understand his emotions and how he reacts to certain situations. The third trait of the new alpha is that the new alpha does not take himself too seriously and prioritizes imperfect action. This kind of goes along with trying to find ways to be more vulnerable around people and around women, but you need to open yourself up to actually being in weird situations, to being that weird guy. There are some times where I'll talk to girls. Here's an example of how I seek out these opportunities to be uncomfortable and take imperfect action. Is I'm in an open relationship, right? I can go on dates with girls, I can do my thing. There are certain boundaries and rules that are around that. I won't get into it, doesn't matter. But I have certain rules in my relationship that I can and can't do. When I talk to a new girl, for a while, I would hide things about that. I wouldn't mention it, or sometimes I've lied in the past about it. And that's not being vulnerable, right? It's protecting myself. But as a new alpha male, I seek to push for more imperfect action, and I seek to make changes so I can be more honest, more brutally myself, more vulnerable with this girl. And so I can tell her, yeah, I'm in a relationship. I'm in an open relationship. And so I've figured out how to communicate that. And shockingly, because I'm more myself and more honest and more open, it's more attractive. And yeah, I do polarize some girls away that are not interested, but I also polarize some girls to be very attractive. I also polarize some girls to be very attracted to me. That's very, very critical. It's key. Figuring out how to communicate my relationship status, and that specifically in an honest way that I feel good about, that is an example of being vulnerable. So there are things right now that you can go out and you can practice being vulnerable literally today. I want the guys on this channel to try to strive to become like this new alpha male. The new alpha male is, first of all, I can tell you as a guy that has tapped into this part of myself, I'm not even 100% there. I'm not someone that's perfect. I'm not coming to you saying that I'm 100% tapped into this. I'm not, okay? I still have my emotional hangups, and I'm still super weird about some stuff, and I lie about certain things, and I lie to myself about certain stuff. I'm not perfect. I fuck up a lot, but I'm coming to you as someone that has been there before. I have been in multiple situations where I've felt like this new alpha male, and trust me, it feels way better than feeling like the biggest dick in the room. It feels so much better. You feel so confident, so fully yourself. There's no inconsistency. You're always living in truth. It's beautiful. And so I want everyone in this channel to experience that. It's the most amazing feeling ever, especially if you're someone that struggled with social anxiety or approach anxiety at all. There's links for mentorship down in the description to apply. There's also link to sign up for my free course on approach anxiety, and to my Instagram. You can give me a follow. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.